Oh, that's better. It's gone. Can I hear you now?
Ah, yeah, clear as a bell. Clear as a bell.
Woo!
God is
Brilliant.
good.
That is good all the time.
Yes.
So you yourself, I'm delighted now. It's nice and clear. No scratching,
Yeah,
no echoing.
yeah, thank
Brilliant.
God.
Okay, so going back to yourself, okay, and I know there's a brilliant interview that Danielle or that Gabrielle did with Danielle Serpico a few weeks ago, and I'm
Hmm.
going to ask Gabrielle to put that link in here later on that you can hear. Oh, you have to listen to this. I was just talking about this morning. I got goosebumps. Her story is incredible, but I don't want today's interview to be about Gabrielle's own story. Today, I want Gabrielle to talk about her business and where it's going. But for the sake of knowing her story, and I believe that you should take the time, it's 20 minutes long, to listen to this lady's story, because not only has she overcome so much, it just shows you the power that we possess as
Hmm.
human beings, and especially this human being that I have the honor to work with and be on live with today. She's an incredible lady. But today I wanted to be about her and our vision and our business, and all of what it takes to run a business. So, Gabrielle, your first question: how long have you been in business?
Well, officially, I've been in business 10 months just, but unofficially, it's been a good few years. But I just didn't actually say, this is what I do. I had some clients and they were always recommended to me, but I didn't actually publicly come out until last year when I went to Economyville.
Okay. So tell
And
us a
it's
little
10
bit about
months.
what was going on before that. That you were only doing clients that were recommended. That you weren't putting yourself out there.
I was actually too shy, Amanda. I was very shy, and I, I suppose I really didn't have the confidence in myself and my ability to do what I did. I know in my head that I had the training behind me because I did lots of training over the years, and I knew I had my life experience behind me. But there was just that little thing, the little, I call it the little chip on the shoulder that was saying, "Ha ha, you for real? Not going to happen." And I chose then to zoom in on that, and I was saying, I can't do that, I can't do it. And it wasn't that I had self esteem issues, I just had issues on my confidence, my ability to do it, do you know? And also, I felt that because I'm quite introverted, I felt I would nearly have like a neon sign on my head saying, "Oh, look at her, who does she think she is?" You know, all that stuff that we do to ourselves. And then I just got totally frustrated with myself. And I just said, this is crazy. You just need to do it. And I got very down on myself, you know, and I went to the Warrior Women in the January, and because stuff was really starting to get to me, and it was pure frustration as well at myself, not listening to me, do you know? And when I started going down to the Warrior Women, I got started to get better, started to get back into who I really was and who I'm meant to be in this world. So that was really, really beneficial to me, do you know? And then I found
I'm
you.
sure a lot of people can relate to that. I talk to people all the time who have great ideas, great skill sets. They're terrified to actually own, stand into their light and
Yeah,
own business.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's what happens, do you know, because we're more worried about what other people think and say about us, you know?
Fear of judgment, yeah.
Yeah,
Fear of
yeah,
judgment, huge,
yeah.
huge. So, what made you decide then? What was the deciding factor, or as your business is called, the turning point? What was the turning point
Yes.
and the deciding factor in saying, okay, here I am, I'm qualified, I'm quietly looking after clients if they knock on my door? Which, when you're in business, it's very rare that the amount of people you need to sustain a business is going to just knock on your door. That's
Yeah,
living in cuckoo land. So, what
yeah.
was the deciding factor that went, oh, hey, hang on a minute, I can't keep like this, I can't run a business like this, I actually have to step out? What was that turning point for you? What was that deciding factor?
That turning point was for me was when I actually remembered what it was like for me when I was searching for somebody. I needed for myself someone that would have been gentle and caring and that would just nearly mind me. And I was saying, well, if I wanted that, then there's going to be loads of people like me that need that gentleness to get them started because of the fear, you know? And then I said, you're not living the life that God gave you.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. And do I want to end up here next year, the following year saying, I wish I did, I wish I did. And I just couldn't do that. And I knew that the only way for me to live fully alive was to put my hand up and say, yeah, this is me. And let the begrudgers and the naysayers rock on. It's my favourite saying, rock on. So that's why that was my turning point. I really realised that I was depriving people of their wellness by not being me and not honouring who I am in the world, do you know? Because I know what it's like to find somebody that you gel with that will help you. Because you don't gel with every person you go and speak to,
Yeah,
do you
of
know?
course.
And I know people, I mightn't be for some people, because some people we're looking for more than I can give them. But for the type of clients that I have, I am that right person, do you know? So God works in mysterious ways. He sends the right people to me, do you know? And it's when I got
That's
sick
beautiful.
of myself, that's was my turning point. Do you know,
Yeah,
it's like
when you say enough is
you
enough.
just, yeah, yeah. And that was it. Enough was enough. I'd had enough of not shining my light. Do you know
Yeah.
that song, like, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine? And I found myself singing it and I was going, but I'm not doing it. I'm actually not doing this. And I went, right, here we go. And I
I'm
remember the
always
first
saying
time.
that, Ian Delaney, and I've shared this at my workshops as well. Ian Delaney pointed this out to me a couple of years back, and it's something that stuck with me. And it's when you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, we will damage our own self-esteem and our own confidence more by doing that. It's better to not say or want to do anything than say it and not show up and do it, because we hammer
Yeah,
ourselves when we do that.
yeah,
And it's like when you
exactly.
get so
Yeah.
sick of doing it, and then you do it. And the other thing I can relate to as well is, and this happened between, this happened with myself. I wanted to become a business coach, but like you, it's like, Asher, who am I to do that? But yet I was doing it all the time, over cups of coffee, over the
Yeah.
phone. Me and you spoke for months, and I was giving you this, that, not blowing my own trumpet, but I was doing it. But to call it a business then is a different kettle of
Yeah,
fish.
it's doing it unofficially, you see. And I was doing the same thing. Like I
In the
was
safe
helping
mode.
people. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
In the
Yeah,
safe mode.
yeah, yeah. And like I even went and I got business cards done years ago and I threw them in the bin. I threw them in the bin because I was looking and I was going, my name is on these, my number is on these. Oh, no, 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 no. And I threw them in the bin.
Wow.
I was that
Wow.
no confident, yeah.
So
But
the
they're not a
next,
bin
I was
now.
going to ask you there, what was the challenges you faced? Anybody,
the
any
ch-
questions? Put them in the comments. We'll get to them at the end. What was
yeah,
the biggest challenge you faced going from in the safe space to now I own the business and I'm going to tell people about it? What was the biggest
the
challenge?
biggest challenge for me was the stopping the overthinking,
Yeah.
and like I'd be thinking, well, if I say this to Amanda, she's going to think, and I was second guessing your thoughts as well, do you know? And I remember driving in the car up to We Can and We Will, one of them, and the girls were shocked in the car when they realised, yeah, I have a business. And they were like, well, how do we not know about this? Do you know? But I didn't say it. So my biggest thing for me was to overcome my overthinking. Because I talked myself into it, then I talked myself out of it. Do you know? But I talked myself out of it more than anything, do you know?
Well, sure, we had met and we had had a couple of conversations, and on different things, nothing to do with business or even We Can and We Will, because we connected straight away on a different
Yeah,
level, you know.
yeah.
And the night you got picked out of the hat, just for the people that don't know, there was one night Nigel is on here watching. Nigel was to speak, and something happened, and Nigel couldn't come. And I decided then that I was going to pull a name out of the hat. And Gabrielle was our first time to come to We Can and We Will, and her name got pulled out of the hat. She shared something and was very vulnerable with what she shared, and it was raw and from the heart, and it was beautiful all in one. It really shone a light on hope. But at the end of it, she mentioned that she had a business, and that was the first time. I think everybody was shocked. Anybody who knew you in that room was like,
Yeah,
"What? Gabrielle has a business?"
yeah, yeah. Because I'd never said it, do you know? And when I went to We Can and We Will, that was last July.
Mm.
I was like, this is not happening. And I was terrified to go up there, do you know? And when I looked around and seen the people looking at me, I was like, whoa, do you know? But I was so delighted at the same time, do you know? But I was afraid to be delighted. Do you know, it was weird. I was afraid to be delighted, but I did it and I was so, so happy. And I still have the picture of that night. Do you know, that
Um,
was literally a huge turning point also. Do you know, because I'd said it publicly and I didn't plan
but
it.
isn't that
It
the
was
power
like
of
it was
public speaking?
ordained. Yeah,
Yeah. Just that
yeah.
10 minute slot can be life changing for people.
Yeah, and it literally did turn it around for me because I'd said it and my earphone is falling now. I said it and then I knew I literally grew into it on that night. Like as I sat in that chair, I literally grew into myself. I was like this, do you know? My spine went into alignment with who I was, do you know? And that was the start of it. It was like, yeah, see me? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Rock on. Anyone else that doesn't like me, rock on. I'm
Yeah.
not here to be liked.
None of my business.
Yeah,
None of my
exactly.
business.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Well,
like
Ashley Griffin is on here and she's saying she can totally relate to this. Do you know, we're more alike than we are different. And,
oh yeah,
most
yeah.
of us feel similar. Do you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you've already explained this is how you overcame it. So
Yeah.
finding clients. Okay, so now you've got this business, you've said it out loud, you've decided now, okay, I'm not going to sit here and wait for the clients to come. I'm going to
Yeah.
actually go and find clients. And a lot of people
Yeah.
struggle with this. So give us a
Mm.
little bit of your experience on finding clients. And your business is it's quite different because it's a very sensitive,
Very
it can be
sensitive. Yeah.
sensitive.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like I get clients referred to me from a couple of GPs, which is
Yeah.
brilliant. Because then because sometimes when the stuff erupts in people, then I can actually go liaise with the GP and say this is where they are, do you know,
Yeah.
and that's brilliant. But the marketing is one of the things I find very difficult. Still, do you know, I still find that difficult to say yes. This is what I do. But what I learned was I just do it afraid. I have to make myself get up and move in that room and say, you can do it. And it's getting easier. And the last time I did it, it was much better. I was much more relaxed and I could say a lot more about who I am and what I do. Do you know? But it's
Now you're
actually
talking about
owning the fear.
doing what? Because we haven't explained how is it now you're finding clients?
Doing the marketing, going to actually we can and we will. I meet a lot of people. I send out my cards to people. I talk more about it, do you know, and social media. So I do my posts every Sunday and me showing up consistently is key, do you know, because
Yeah,
there's times, you just don't want to. But by doing that, you know, it's showing them consistency is the key and just do it again and again and again and again and never, ever, ever give up. Never,
yes.
ever give up. Just
Because
keep
I remember
at it.
I remember when we first spoke about doing live videos and sharing your story with people. It's huge, guys. The fear is huge. You're putting yourself out there. Vulnerability takes courage, but it's also the best way to connect with your audience, and especially on a sensitive subject. And how did you overcome that? Because I know how, but I want you to say how. Remember at the very start when we had that call, and you decided that it was going to be once a week. It was going to be a Sunday morning. The fear got real, and then I asked you to do just one thing just to get over it.
I
Do you
probably
remember what it
don't,
was?
I probably not, but I know you said to me to just pretend that it was you and me having a chat and a cup of tea. And
Yeah,
that's what I did. That because your audience is one person. Literally, do you know, because you can't look at everybody, so you look at one person. So that's what I did. I imagined I was just talking to you, and then I'd look back at them, do you know, and I'd say, oh my god, I didn't smile, I didn't this, I didn't move, I was like no expression on my face, and I seen all the negative things, but what I didn't see was the courage, and I didn't see the vulnerability, and only for I surrounded myself with the right people, I wouldn't have even done that. I wouldn't have met you or Nicola or anybody like that, And it's surrounding yourself as well with the right people and do it afraid. Just do it
yeah,
afraid because you're never going to be 100% out there. And I think it's very humbling when you're still nervous because that's showing you care. Do you know, you
Yeah.
actually care and you want people to get the right message. Because one of my things, Amanda, was I was so afraid that my story would offend somebody, that I would scare them, that I would trigger them. And I had to come to terms with that, that if they're coming into my space, they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
Do you know, like I'm in their space for a reason, and they can see me recovering and getting out there and getting over stuff. Do you know, and that's how I pushed myself, and I started to say, do it afraid, just do it afraid, and I did,
So we're
and
going
I'm
to put
not
the link
afraid
up
now.
to
I'm
Gabrielle's
nervous.
page. Huh?
I said I'm not afraid now. I'm nervous.
Yes,
There's a
yeah. But
difference,
that's
yeah,
again because you care, and it's the same as excitement, do you know.
yeah,
And anybody who
exactly.
doesn't know, Gabrielle Sunday morning, she does a soulful Sunday, very honest, very short live video, and she shares her traumatic and abusive past with people, which I think is lovely because it shows people, this is where I was and this is where I'm at, and I'm here and I can help. It's just
Exactly,
it's beautiful.
exactly.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. So your top tip would be your top tip on business owners finding clients from
Finding
your
clients.
short experience in the 10 months.
Yeah.
What would be your top tip?
My top tip would be do it afraid. Do it afraid. Never, ever, ever give up, because it will change when you stick with it, when you show up consistently. There's no point in showing up for a few weeks and then stopping, because you're never going to build your audience and people are going to come looking for you. And when somebody is in pain and they're vulnerable and they see you not there, you know, you're building them up and then you're literally dropping them down again. So show up, but
Yeah,
show up
I
for
love
yourself and show up for them and show them what it's like to show up, and just they know you're doing it afraid. And when you speak about your own experiences, and in part of the training that I got was that you never reveal about yourself, that you always have this, I'm the professional and you're the client, you know, and that was all the old school, you know. So I never agreed with that, because I can only help you, I believe, is when you know that I know exactly what it's like to sit in your seat. And I do,
yeah,
do you know?
yeah,
And I really
yeah,
do. And I know the courage that it takes. I know that. And I understand about your boundaries and I understand all that sort of stuff. Because I myself sat in therapy for a year and a half, Amanda, and I never spoke. I never spoke one word, and I went every single Thursday afternoon, and that girl made me tea and biscuits. She couldn't have done anything nicer for me. And she just continued in her work, like, and then she'd turn around and she'd say, are you okay? And I'd say, yeah, I'm fine. And then when my time was up, she'd say to me, your time is up. And I'd say, thank you. And I'd leave. And I was so delighted.
goosebumps.
Yeah, it was, she just gave me space to be me. She gave me permission. And that's
Yeah,
what we need. We need the permission. And sometimes we can't give it to ourselves. We need somebody else to say it's okay to be you.
and just
With
listen or
all
not listen.
the, yeah, and it's okay to feel angry, sad, frustrated, afraid, all that stuff at the same time. And you're not crazy and you're not mad. You're just emotional, and all this stuff is bubbling up, and you need a little bit of direction and healing.
Yeah,
Do you know? And that's my purpose, is to give the healing, help the healing, and show people how they can heal themselves. That's my
wow,
mission in life. Do you know?
powerful.
I hope that
So
answered what you
now,
were asking
oh,
me.
you know what? I'm just like, even trying to ask business questions. I mean, you can see how, it's just so beautiful. But
Yeah,
back to
thank you.
business. But your business is beautiful and what you do is beautiful. Do you, and this is just for the sake of business owners who may be counselors and struggling, because it is when you're told one way and your gut feeling is telling you to do it
Absolutely,
the
yeah.
other way. It's
Yeah.
hard to crisscross that. What you're taught and what you know and what you feel is two different
Yeah.
things,
Totally.
especially in the
Totally.
space that you're in. And you have to respect that because there is boundaries that can't be crossed. It's very sensitive. But do you have a system in place now for, well, I suppose you do your weekly videos, but do you have
Yeah.
a system in place now that helps you operate the business smoothly? Do you know that runs
Yeah.
your clients
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so what I do is I try to put my appointments as much together as I can, like I do at the minute, I would do a maximum of 3 in a day because that's enough for my head, do you know?
Yeah.
And I want to give you 100% of me. And at the minute, 3 is loads in a day for me. And when my client leaves, then I do my paperwork, my filing. And then I also go away and I might do something for myself. And then the next day I'll go back while it's kind of still fresh in my head, and I'll make a plan for the next session. It may not happen, but because the client is always the one that will guide the session, do you know? But even if it doesn't happen, I have that in place for when the time is right. And that I can go in feeling, yes, I know what I'm doing, even though I know what I'm doing, but when you see it in black and white, you go, yeah, this will work, do you know?
Well, a human
But
being sits down in front of you, it's completely different. And as you said,
yes,
the client will guide it, but you're aware then that this was something that had come up. So it may come back to that. I love it.
yeah, and every client, they even though like two people can come in with the same issue, but they're affected differently. So I have to look at how you were affected by what happened to you. Do you know,
Yeah,
it's not necessarily the story, even though the story might be something you want to get out, but how you're affected is then where we look at, and that's where we work from. Do you know, your reactions to it? How is it affecting you today? Do you know, it's not
yeah,
necessarily always about going back, going back, going back. It's from today onwards as well. Because, like, when you're coming into someone like me and then you're going back in behind the wheel of a car, I have to make sure that you are fit to drive that car. Do you know,
yeah.
because you're on the road. And so for me, then, helping me to do the business is taking the time out for me,
Yeah,
taking the time
yeah.
out for me. So I take the time in the room afterwards just to ground myself back, and then I come back into the house or do go for my walk or whatever it is, and that is the way I do it. Do you know, I do that.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So, your greatest achievements to date in your 10 months in business?
The greatest achievements I have to date, one would be the workshop. One would be the
Tell us the
workshop.
story about that workshop because that really lost me sleep.
I was in bed one night and I was writing all this stuff down. It just kept coming to me, do you know? And the word standing strong kept coming to me, and I was going, and I just named it standing strong. And then I got this whole awareness, like I just wrote a workshop. And it was the most amazing thing. And I think I said to you, I think I wrote a workshop. And that was amazing. And I kept looking at it and I looking at it and I looking at it. And then I had to get comfortable with it. And then me and you were talking about it for ages, like, and I was nearly back to square one in a sense. I didn't want to say it out loud. I was afraid, and you were saying, just put it into your Soulful Sundays. And I did that and nothing happened at that time. And then slowly, when I said it again, people started to say, yeah, I'd like to do this. Do you know, but because I am kind of known for doing abuse work and stuff, I find that people are nearly afraid to comment on my posts because it's like a neon sign saying me too, even though that's not all I do, but I talk about it, you see, and it's bringing things into the light, do you know? So doing the workshop last Friday was a huge achievement for me, a huge one. And the other one was actually saying, yes, I have a business. That was the other big achievement. And getting my business cards and showing them and getting my website, that was like amazing. Do you know, that was amazing. That was just
Fantastic.
amazing.
Can
Yeah.
I share a little observation that I had from my side
Yeah.
with the workshop? So the workshop was going ahead, and Gabrielle was nervous, but yeah, okay, we're going to do the workshop. And then a couple, and this is just because if you're in business, you're going to relate to this. I've done this myself. And a couple of weeks later, she come back with some other idea. And I'm looking at this other idea and I'm going,
Mm,
where's this after coming from? I said, this idea is coming from avoiding doing the workshop. So I asked her a couple of questions, kept putting it back at her, putting it back at her, putting it back at her. And on our next Zoom call, I said, right, what's happening with the flipping workshop? So it is important to have good people around you who
100%.
understand
Yeah.
you. I knew what this workshop meant to Gabrielle, but I also knew the fear was so real. It's like when you know you have stuff to do for your business, but you're hanging out your washing.
Yeah.
You'll do anything else except
Yeah.
do what it is that you know you want to do. So when it all turned around and the decision was finally made, that workshop sold out in record time, and it wasn't
Yeah.
even advertised on Facebook.
Yeah.
It was over the phone,
Yeah.
and that was another big
And there's
achievement.
3 people on the waiting list for the next one. Like, that blows my mind away. Do you know?
Yes, it doesn't blow me. I'm not a bit shocked.
Yeah, that just blows my mind. 3 people contact me and say, can I be on the list for the next one? Do you know? And one girl said, and if you get a cancellation, will you let me know? And I'm going, wow. Do you know? Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Fantastic. I'm going to check
Yeah.
here and see. Nicola is blowing trumpets at you there. Brilliant. The tribe is so important. They raise you up. They sure
Yeah.
do. Let me see. Everybody's agreeing there. Let me see. Yes. I love this one. I don't know what she's talking about now. So I love this saying, and I know Nicola doesn't. This is from Gabrielle. Fear is courage that has said its prayers.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? I know you're always saying it.
Yeah, I always say that because I lived my life so much in fear. Like, I lived terrorized. Do you know, I was afraid of everything and everybody, do you know? And when I became more aware of God and I was praying and I was saying, help me, help me, help me. And literally, it was like nearly God said to me himself, courage is fear that has said its prayers. And I think it was because I kept praying and praying and praying, and I wasn't listening, I wasn't receiving, but I was all the time like busy talking, help me, help me, help me, help me. But I wasn't stopping to breathe and say, literally, I am being helped. Do you know? And courage is fear that has said its prayers, because you have to put the action behind it then. Because we can have all the knowledge all the time, and when we don't put the action behind it, we're just going to stay in the same place. Do you know?
The
But
fear rob you.
it's the move. Yeah, it's the movement, because the emotion goes with the motion. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Do you
I
know, the
love it.
emotion just, yeah. So
I
my
love it.
motion was
So
to move.
thank you so much for this
Thank
beautiful
you for
interview.
the
And I
invite.
know, yeah, I know lots of people are going to get so many benefits
Well,
from
I
this
hope it
from
does
so
help
many different
somebody. Yeah.
levels.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
hope somebody gets
and
help.
I do believe, that people should go on and listen. If you know somebody who's been a victim of abuse or trauma, please send them. We're going to put the link in for that interview because it's powerful. It really is powerful. And go and connect with Gabrielle. Watch her Soulful Sundays. It gives hope. It really gives hope, and it's just lovely to see someone so strong, having been through so much from a very young age. It is just so wonderful. And I'm so blessed to
Yeah.
have you in my life, Gabrielle. So thank you
Thank
so
you
much
so
for today.
much. And I just want to say, like, for people that are affected, there is a different way to live than the way you've been living. Do you know, there is a different way, and give yourself permission. Just give yourself permission and know that you can and you will. Do you know, you just
Yes.
become willing. When you supply the willingness, everything else will come to you. Do you know, just be willing.
Oh,
That's
so
it.
you're an inspiration. She sure is. Such wise words from Ashton. So please share this out. If you've enjoyed it, share it out, and let's get Gabrielle's Turning Point in Drogheda business, out there to more people, your audience, my
Yeah, and they
audience,
can
and
have a
everybody
turning
else's
point.
audience.
Do you know, let them have a turning point then. Do you know, let it be
Yeah,
their turning point. Do you know, so hopefully
exactly.
it'll help
Brilliant.
somebody.
Right. Well, have a
So thank
wonderful
you,
day, guys,
Amanda.
and we'll see
Yeah,
you soon. Thank you so much, and have a brilliant day.
you too. Thanks, Amanda.
Bye.
Bye.